Welcome back. So the list page is a lot more complex the first time you open it right here. First of all, we are actually importing some information. We also did that with the home page, so not that complex. It's just Angular and Ionic specific information we need to actually work with this page. We're explaining that we are a component again, just like before. We have a selector, that's kind of a tag we can use later on, and then we have a template URL, which is list.html, which is of course the HTML file we have right here, the list.html file. Sweet. We also have the style sheet. So again, notice how much these guys look the same. That's the idea behind the components. It should be small and simple to reuse. Easy for us to get an overview of this simple list component. So when I know that something is wrong on this page, I know exactly where to go. There's something wrong in the list component, man. Oh, okay, where should we go? Go to the list folder, yay! Here we have all the list component information, sweet. So we have the component here, and we also export the list page right here, so that's kind of the setup, right? What do we do in here? Well, there's a lot of things going on right here. I'm not going to go through all of them. Let's just actually figure out the stuff we already know and just do a recap on that for now. We have a list of items, an array of items right here. We have a list of icons, and we have something that we can select. Okay, sweet. Now we have a title, a note, and an icon. That's kind of how we define each item. So a title, a note, and an icon. Let's try and have a look at our page. So here's my guess. This is the icon for each item, this is the title, and this is the note for each icon. Just guessing right here. So that's kind of how we define each of the items that we want to display in our list. Now we will make more type strong items later on, because right now we're just making them, we're not using the power of TypeScript yet. We will do that later. Now what else do we have? Well, we actually have, I'm normally doing 2 lines here. We actually have a nav controller and some nav parameters. We don't need to figure those out yet. And then this is kind of how we figure out what component we actually want to use, right? And then we're just defining some crap data right here that we can use for our application. So here we're actually just making a few icons that are predefined inside Ionic. And then here we're actually just creating a few components or a few items that has a specific name +1, a specific note +1, specific, right? So until we get to 11, then we have a specific title of 11, specific note of 11, and then we add some kind of random icon to that. That's all we're doing in here. So that now we have a list of items, right? And we can try to display them using the ngFor. So let's try and have a look at the actual component here. Now, first thing I see is again the header. Let's just try and remove the header just to show you guys what that is actually all about. So it's just building right here, let it build. We're going into the list right here. Now, if I remove the header, what do you think will disappear? You were right, the top thing in here. So let's try and go to the list. There's no header anymore. Please bring it back. Yes, I will. I'll just undo this. And let's just change this to fun list, just like this instead of list. What do you think will change? Well, maybe the title loss. You're right, the title changed. So that's kind of all you have to do to manipulate the specific guy right here. Now we have the content. Inside the content, again, we have a list, just like you saw in the menu. Again, we're using an ngFor, just like you saw in the menu. Again, we have a list of items now. Where do we find these? Inside the TS file? Yes, we do. They're right here. Now we're using that list of items to actually get a single item that we can click later on. Yeah, we know that. That's what we learned earlier. We add an icon and we just give the icon the name of the icon from the item. So let's jump back to the item right here and see, does it have a name? Yes, it has an icon right here. That name is something that we randomly get from this list right here. So it could be a flask, a Wi-Fi, beer, football, something like that. We take that and we then show some kind of Ionic icon. They are specific for Ionic. We'll get back to those later as well. We show the title of the item, just like we did with the menu, and then we show the note. And we pull that to the end of the item. And it's all wrapped inside a button. So if we go back to our list, this is how it will look. Icon, title, note, and it's all a button so I can click it if I want to. That's a lot for this video. Let's just try and get back to this list and talk a bit more in the next lesson.